Hi everyone and welcome to NCHC Between the Boards NCAA Regionals edition. I'm your host Greg Ankers. Coming up on tonight's show, 4 of 16 teams in the field of 16 are representatives of the NCHC. A full quarter of the field. We're going to break down each region through highlights and hear post-game reaction from players and coaches as they make their march to the Frozen Four. That's where we'll conclude the program tonight as we set the stage for the field of 4 set to take place in Tampa, Florida next week. We begin our journey tonight, though, in the West Regional, St. Paul, Minnesota, the site where we find St. Cloud State. Fresh off a Frozen Face-Off championship, the Huskies back in the field of 16 for the 4th consecutive year, looking to get back to the Frozen Four for the first time since 2013. Standing in their way in round 1, Ferris State, the WCHA champs, and these two teams meeting for the first time since 2002. St. Cloud State looking to avoid the 1-4 upset in the opening round. They trail from the get-go just over 3 minutes in, down 1-0, but 17 seconds after Ferris State scores, number 17, Jacob Benson, ties things up for St. Cloud State. As things are all knotted up at 1. Ferris State would take a 2-1 lead into the second. Just over a minute in, St. Cloud State gets caught in a line change, and Kenny Babinski blasts one past Charlie Lindgren, and it's a 3-1 Ferris State lead. St. Cloud State, though, would respond on their always powerful power play. Mikey Acimont skating in, falling down, shoots and scores to make it a 3-2 game. Ferris State would push it to 4-2 going into the third, but St. Cloud State continuing to come back with the man advantage. Off the end wall from Joey Bennick, Mikey Acimont scores again his second power play goal, makes it a 4-3 game with 15 to go. Later in the period, St. Cloud State looking for the equalizer. They get it. Jimmy Murray sliding one out in front to Joey Bennick. Bennick buries it to tie things up at 4 goals apiece. Take another look. Murray doesn't get a lot on this one, but just enough as Bennick puts it in the back of the net. So this one goes all the way to overtime. Off the draw, just 18 seconds in, it's Gerald Mayhew skating in for Ferris State, bounces one off the pad of Lindgren right to Jared Van Wormer, and just like that, in stunning fashion, St. Cloud State's season comes to an abrupt close. Charlie Lindgren disappointed as Ferris State goes on to win 5-4 in overtime, and the Huskies just could not get over the early hump that they were trailing, chasing Ferris State from the beginning.
Pretty simple with 4 turnovers led to the first 4 goals, and we did some uncharacteristic things early in the game in a one and done tournament at 2:00 in the afternoon. When you do that, it's going to rip your heart out.
It was 4-2 in between second and third, and if we were gonna lose, we were gonna go down swinging. We were gonna open up our game and just take some chances and play hockey. I think guys were gripping their sticks a little bit tight, and we weren't sharp in the first and second, but we knew we had to make a push there at the end if we were gonna make something happen. We were fortunate to get back in that game.
Coming up next, we return to the West Regional, where one NCHC team still remains as Denver makes its push to the Frozen Four. The Pioneers highlights are right on the other side of this break as you watch NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. We return to the West Regional, where Denver makes its 9th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance and 26th tournament appearance overall. The Pioneers entering as one of the hottest teams in the field of 16 with just 2 losses over their last 22 games. They square off against Boston University in round 1, a team that they played on the road back on Halloween, falling 5-4 in overtime. That sets up the revenge factor, but the Terriers not an easy team to take down. They return to the NCAA tournament as the national runner-up from a year ago. And Denver coming into this one obviously learned some things about how to score against BU. Midway through the first, Denver on the attack. Shot comes on goal right to Blake Hillman's stick, and he buries it as the Pioneers take a 1-0 lead. Just a couple minutes after that, Denver back on the attack, and it's going to be Danton Heinen feeding it to Dylan Gambrell, who goes backhand for a 2-0 Denver advantage. At the end of 1, just seconds into the second period, Denver working on a power play, and Will Butcher blasting one from his defensive position makes it 3-0 Pioneers. overwhelming the Terriers. Just a couple minutes after that, Denver gets back on the scoreboard. Centering feed comes right to Matt Marcineau from Jared Lucas Savages, and Denver steamrolling Boston 4-0, but they weren't even done within the second period. As teams make a change, Troy Terry skating in, feeding one to Evan Jansen, who goes backhand 5-hole to make it a 5-0 Denver advantage. In the third, Denver on a 5-on-3, and golly, that's just not even fair. Will Butcher with his second goal of the game, making it a 6-0 rout for the Pioneers. BU would get one back to make it 6-1, but Trevor Moore puts a capper on it as Denver goes up 7-1. They go on to win this one 7-2. Business-like attitude by the Pioneers as they win by 5 goals, punching their ticket into the West Region Final.
Yeah, I thought we played well. I think we really rose to the occasion tonight. It was good to see us do that. It seemed like all the lines were just clicking, a lot of offense. I thought our communication was really high, chipping pucks to areas where guys were going, and we played fast. We gotta go back to the drawing board and watch Ferris State. I don't think we know much about them, so we're just gonna take the momentum tomorrow.
So it sets up a showdown of Ferris State, who of course knocked off St. Cloud State, and Denver for the right to go to the Frozen Four. And in the first, Denver on a power play and a breakaway. Initial shot by Dylan Gambrell. Bounces right out to Danton Heinen for a 1-0 Denver lead. Ferris State would tie it up later at 1, but later in the period, off the draw, wasting no time on this one is Gambrell, as he puts Denver out in front 2-1. It'd be tied at 2 after the first period. In the second, though, Denver retakes the lead on a breakaway. Somehow Trevor Moore gets behind the defense. Blake Hillman finds him, and Denver goes up 3-2 after 2. In the third, Ferris State, the sneaky number 4 seed from the WCHA, coming all the way back to tie it. Kyle Schemp out in front, makes it a 3-all game, but Denver turns things up after that. Heinen to Hillman for the goal here right out in front, fires home that wrister for a 4-3 advantage. Then just seconds after that goal, Denver back on the attack again, looking for more. And this is going to be a goal by Nolan Zajac. The feed from Quentin Shore makes it 5-3 Denver. In less than 2 minutes and change after that, back on a power play, Denver ices it. Jansen and Shore combo for the goal here to make it 6-3, and Denver goes on to win the West Region by the final of 6-3. It's the first Frozen Four for Denver in 11 years, not since they won back-to-back championships in 2004, 2005, but the Pioneers are indeed headed to the Frozen Four in Tampa, Florida.
It's a special feeling, being a senior, and my fellow seniors, Quentin, Nolan, and Gabe. We've been through a lot of hard times here at Denver and a lot of great times. We've had some tough losses in this tournament, but the one thing that I think about the most is our alumni, our family back home, everyone that's put on a Denver sweater. It's an awesome feeling to get back to the Frozen Four for this university, and that's what we expect from each other. So it's an awesome feeling, and I can't wait to go to Tampa.
With one NCHC team punching its ticket to the Frozen Four, 2 more teams could join the Pioneers in that field. Coming up next, we hit up the Midwest Regional, where we find North Dakota vying to make its return to the national semifinals. Welcome back. We head next to Cincinnati, Ohio, the site of the Midwest Regional, where North Dakota enters as the top seed, and UND making its 14th consecutive trip to the NCAA tournament. That the longest active NCAA streak in the country right now. And UND looking to get back to the Frozen Four for the 3rd straight year, an 8th time in the past 12 seasons. But standing in their way in the opening round, a Northeastern squad that enters as the hottest team in the entire country with just 1 loss in their last 23 games. And North Dakota would get tested by Northeastern. The Huskies scored just over 3 minutes in to grab a shocking 1-0 lead, but UND answers back just a couple minutes later. Keaton Thompson with the shot. Johnny Simonson on the doorstep buries it for a 1-all game. Simonson's first goal in 35 games. North Dakota later back on the attack. Tucker Poolman jumps on the loose puck. All alone shoots and scores to make it 2-1 UND. But the Fighting Hawks not done in the period. Working on a power play. Keaton Thompson with a shot here comes right to Luke Johnson out in front, making that one look easy. It's 3-1 UND after one. In the second period then, just over 5 minutes in, UND gets back on the board off the faceoff, wasting no time, winning the draw back to Bryn Chiswick. He shoots and scores to make it a 4-1 game. And less than 2 minutes after that, North Dakota comes calling again. Brock Besser off the turnover out in front. Too quick for that action, makes it a 5-1 UND lead. And Cam Johnson between the pipes for North Dakota was brilliant on this Friday afternoon, making pad save after pad save. 24 all totaled for Johnson in this one, as it was 5-1 going into the third. And in a 5-2 game, North Dakota's CBS line going to work here. Brock Besser to Nick Schmaltz to Drake Kajula. That's how it's done, as North Dakota goes on to get the win. 6-2 the final. Shots favoring UND 36-26 in a game that they really dominated, despite Northeastern jumping out to the early lead as UND's into the Midwest Region Final.
It's never easy to go down a goal. Obviously, they get momentum off that first goal of the game. But so it was big time to tie it up. Not too long after, and from there, I think we started to settle in a little bit and started to make some plays and play some really good hockey.
I just kind of thought it was a steady attack by us. It wasn't just one line. It was kind of four lines coming at them in different waves and tiring them out. I thought we played a lot in their D zone. Probably their D were a little tired and just kind of wore them down and throughout the game.
Michigan knocked off Notre Dame 4-2 in the other region semifinals, setting up the Wolverines and Fighting Hawks for the right to go to Tampa. And in the first, North Dakota jumps on the board first, just over a minute to go. Drake Kajula scoring on his own rebound and then gets taken out by the ref. Everybody would be okay. It was 1-0 after one. In the second, Michigan comes roaring back. JT Comfer shoots and scores past everybody, tying this one up at 1 goal apiece. Late in the second, closing seconds of the period, North Dakota going to get back on the board off the turnover. Luke Johnson snipes that one home for a 2-0 North Dakota lead after one. In the third, Michigan ties it up once again on the power play. Once again, it's Comfer going top shelf. Actually, this one deflects off of Tucker Poolman's glove to make it a 2-all game. But North Dakota, with just over 8 to go, takes the lead back over, and this time for good. Blast from the point, tipped out in front by Rhett Gardner, bouncing over the goaltender for a 3-2 UND lead. Then just over a minute after that, North Dakota gets back on the board again. This time a shot from the point by Tucker Poolman gets deflected out in front by Colton Sanderson, all alone for a 4-2 UND lead. And then with just moments to go, Paul Ledoux capping it with the slow-going empty netter as North Dakota goes on to win 5-2, knocking off Michigan and avenging a loss to Michigan in the Frozen Four back in 2011. Shots, once again, favoring UND 49-27 as UND is back in the Frozen Four for the 8th time in the last 12 seasons and for the 3rd year in a row.
I remember losing back in the Frozen Four last year and said I want to be back there one more time and change our fate. So we're happy we're there, and our work's just starting here. So we're excited, but we're going to be ready to go come Tampa.
It feels great. I mean, you can't describe a feeling like this. We're going to take it in for a moment, then we'll start getting ready for Tampa.
It means a lot. We got a special group in there, and all those guys, we've worked our bags off all year, so it's nice to be getting rewarded here at the end of the season.
Feels amazing. Boys work really hard. It's 3rd time in a row. Hopefully 3rd time's a charm. Being my first year here, I've never been part of this tournament. I didn't realize how intense it was and how much it meant to these guys, but you can tell the older guys, they're hungry. They want some redemption. We just want to pitch in and get for them. They've been great to us all year, so we're definitely going to put the work in the next 2 weeks and go to Tampa and get the job done.
Half the Frozen Four field will be once again represented by the NCHC. On the other side of this break, though, Minnesota Duluth tries to become a 3rd team in the field of 4. We break down the Bulldogs next as you watch NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. For the 4th time in the last 6 years, Minnesota Duluth finds itself back in the NCAA tournament field, and for the 2nd straight year, they're back in the Northeast Regional. This time being paired up in the opening round against Providence College. The Friars winning the national tournament just 1 year ago. They enter as the defending champs, and these two teams not too familiar with each other. Haven't met since 2011. This one would be a defensive showdown between the Friars and Bulldogs, scoreless all the way into the third. Early in the final frame, though, Minnesota Duluth finally breaks through, winning a puck battle in the corner. Tony Cameronese with the slap shot to make it 1-0 Minnesota Duluth. Couple minutes after that, Providence answering back at the other end. The shot gets blocked by Ryan Tate, but Stephen McParland there for the rebound beats Casimir Kaskasuo to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. Under 4 to go, a breakaway opportunity for Providence. Nick Saraceno alone, but Kaskasuo there for the pad save. Then on the ensuing play, Neil Pionk feeds it all the way up ahead to Austin Farley. He can't beat the goaltender, so we're tied at 1 going to overtime. In the first OT, Kaskasuo coming up big for the Bulldogs. He had 9 saves in the first overtime to keep it a 1-1 game. This one would go to a second OT less than a minute in. Minnesota Duluth on the attacking end. Willie Raskob feeding Carson Kuhlman at the net, and Kuhlman buries it for the game winner. Take a couple more looks at this one. Raskob with the great feed, shooting it down towards the net, and Kuhlman there in the paint, grinding it out. They'd review to make sure there was no interference, and Kuhlman did not get there until the puck was past the goaltender. So Minnesota Duluth punches its spot to the Northeast Regional Final, outshooting the Friars 56-37 in the victory, and Minnesota Duluth back in a regional final once again.
We had some shifts where we played the way we wanted, and I think started to wear them down, obviously a few shifts, and that when you do that, you get some momentum. And the nice thing is that's your best defense because they're too tired, hopefully, to go the other way.
I mean, obviously, in these tight games and playoffs here, every goal is huge. But you know what? It's something that you dream about as a kid, scoring OT goals. So it's a cool experience for sure.
Boston College beat Harvard 4-1 in the other region semifinal, so it sets up Minnesota Duluth and BC for a right to go to the Frozen Four. A 1-0 BC lead in the second. Eagles win a puck battle out front. Teddy Doherty with the goal. His second of the game makes it 2-0 BC. In the third, Boston College on a power play, and Ryan Fitzgerald fires one from the near circle, beating Kaskasuo, and the Eagles lead this one 3-0. But Minnesota Duluth later in the period coming back on a power play of their own. Austin Farley roofing this one top shelf over Thatcher Demko to make it a 3-1 game, and Minnesota Duluth not done yet. Neil Pionk with the blast from the point. Carson Kuhlman there for the rebound effort, beating Demko once again. That makes it a 3-2 game with just under 4.5 to go. Closing seconds, Minnesota Duluth on a power play, looking for the equalizer. Tony Cameronese with the initial shot breaks his stick. Austin Farley out in front, nearly puts it in the net, and you won't believe how close he came to beating Demko here. Farley just can't get any wood on it as the BC defenseman comes in to deflect it out of harm's way. Take one more look. Farley can't get it to go in, but right there, so close yet so far it is a game of inches as Boston College, so tough to beat when the regionals are in Worcester, Mass. They win it 3-2 the final, bringing an end to Minnesota Duluth's magical run.
For us, I think it was a lot of missed opportunities to missing the net and things like that, that maybe early in the game, if we get a goal early or somewhere in there, it changes maybe the tone of the game a little bit. But I'm really proud. I thought our guys played a good game, and we kept fighting to the end, and unfortunately we came up a little bit short.
We just threw one on net, and I think it rattled around, hit their guy, hit one of our guys, and I think the goalie got his glove on it or something. It was just like Coach said, it's a game of inches, and it's unfortunately it didn't bounce our way.
That leaves us with just the East Regional to cover in Albany, New York. Here are the results. Quinnipiac opened the East Regional with a win over RIT, winning 4-0. In the other regional semifinal, it was UMass Lowell over Yale 3-2 in overtime, and Quinnipiac is Frozen Four bound after beating Lowell in the regional championship. 4-1 is the final there. We'll reset the field in the Frozen Four and let you know what's coming up in the near future here on NCHC Between the Boards. That's right after this break. Welcome back. Once again, half of the Frozen Four field is represented by the NCHC with a pair of teams punching their tickets to Tampa, Florida. All the festivities will begin with the semifinals on Thursday, April 7th from Amalie Arena in Tampa. It's Boston College and Quinnipiac in the opener at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock Central. That's followed by the NCHC Battle of Denver and North Dakota at 8:30. That's 7:30 Central on Thursday, April 7th. The winners of those games, one team will be represented by the NCHC, will collide in the championship on Saturday, April 9th at 8 o'clock. That's 7 o'clock Central. Denver and UND looking for their 8th national title. We will recap all of the Frozen Four festivities as we'll be there to cover everything Denver and North Dakota while we're there, and we'll recap the Frozen Four in a couple weeks right here on the program. We'll rejoin you on Friday, April 15th, right here on Midco Sports Network. We hope you enjoy the Frozen Four, everyone. We'll see you next time.